What's up, y'all? Your boy is back here with yet another update video here, and in today's video what we got going on is priming the engine. And I probably should do this now, that way I don't forget, and that way everything is already all sealed up and I have everything good to go. So that way if I test the motor to crank it or something like that, or I have it all hooked up and it accidentally starts, I don't start the motor dry. So I'm going to prime my engine. I'm going to prime it the same way that I did last time on my Caprice. And being that it was so long ago as far as my Caprice goes, I'm going to show you guys how I did it. I have all the same stuff to prime it. It's probably not your most conventional way of doing it, but you know, I don't do things in the most conventional way sometimes, and I try to find ways that are still efficient, but it can also save me a little bit of money. And if I can do it myself, then I'll do it myself. So anyways, that's what's on the agenda today. Also, what I did, I got set back a little bit after work because I went to try to get some power steering hoses modified. And if you guys did not know, these power steering lines here, so what you have here is I have bought one for a Chevelle specifically, and then this is actually the hose that actually came off the cargo van, and then I have one that I picked up from the junkyard right here. And so I did not know this. Last time on my Caprice, I had my hoses modified to work, but what happens, or what has happened, or on a lot of these swaps at least, especially GM swaps, the fittings that the fitting that fits on the back of the pump takes this particular style fitting, and I guess this is called a bump fitting. And on all the old school GM cars, they take this flared fitting. I don't know if you guys can see that. So, or right here, can you? I don't know if you can see that right there. Yeah, so they take that flared style fitting, and what you come into the problem is although that might fit your current gearbox, that flared fitting won't fit on the back of the new LS power steering pump because they take this bump fitting. So I was trying to go see if I can have like this particular hose or this tube connected to my current Chevelle hose, which I had done before, but because of this bend, I can't use it on my particular build, and they can't do anything as far as rebending them or anything like that. They basically gotta cut it off here and then put that hose or put that tube as is on another tube, or make another hose out of it and whatnot. It just became too complicated. So I wasn't able to do that. But a guy had an idea. He was like, I wonder if they make, he said, these swaps are so common, and you're not the first one to come here and ask about it. He was like, I wonder if they make an adapter to take from a inverted bump fitting or whatever to a flared fitting. So we looked it up, and sure enough, there's companies out there that make that particular fitting. So I went ahead and ordered one, and it cost me 15 bucks, and basically would have saved me a lot of money versus having a whole hose made and all that. So although it took up a couple hours of my day, it actually ended up working out because I never even knew. If that was the case, I would have just did that the first time with my Caprice and just used my regular Caprice hose. So in any case, that's good. So I'm happy about that. So again, that'll fit on the back of the power steering pump right there. That's where the high pressure hose goes in, and then we'll call it good. So anyways, that's all I'm up to today, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and prime this engine. I'm gonna try to film it to show you kind of what I do and how I particularly do it and have done it in the past. And again, some of you guys might not agree with it. Some people might frown upon it, but that's just the way I do it, and it's worked for me. And my engine didn't start dry last time, and so we'll see what happens this time. So anyways, let me flip this camera around and we'll get to work. All right, y'all, so I got the video pointed right here where you can see. So this actually feels right into the oil passage there. And what you can do is just get an Allen wrench here. I have this Allen stud or whatever that's on a socket, and you got to take that off. So I'm going to go ahead and try to take that off here real quick. Hopefully you guys can see this. So I have this long breaker bar, so I didn't have to put much tension on it. And you want to take that off. grab my ratchet here real quick. So that's basically gonna feed the oil right inside there. And I'm gonna go ahead and take it off here real quick. I can already smell the oil. Alright. So you guys can see I'm unscrewing it right now. So yeah, so that's what basically blocks off that. I'm not sure if that's a passageway or that dumps right inside of there, but I know that's where the oil goes to. All right, so what I got here is I ordered this from not Amazon, but Summon a long time ago, and basically it's a utility pump, and it can pump all kinds of things. You know, if you have any type of blockages in your drain or something like that, it gives you various tubes that you can use. So I think it actually comes with a black tube, and I don't know where that is, but I think it actually comes with a black tube. I'm pretty sure it does, at least. And this is the type of tube that I got here. So what I'll probably do is I have some new tube somewhere, I think. If not, I'll just rinse this out with some carb clean or something and reuse this. But I have this tube, and then this is the pump. And so it comes with these ends here, and it shows you what's in and what's out. And then it has this little shaft here, and what you could do is hook the shaft up to a drill, and then you just start drilling slowly, and then you put the tubes inside of your oil and then inside of here, and then be good to go. I have a barb fitting that I'm going to screw onto there, and then I'm going to put the tube over that and then just clamp it down. So anyways, let me go ahead and start doing that, and then I'll chime back in. All right, y'all, so here we go. So I got the tube inserted into my break-in engine oil. Got that down here to the pump. So I'm just going to put a drill to that end. And as you see, it goes in and then out all the way into the side. I put a fitting in there, and then I stuck the hose on it, and I put a clamp on it there. So I'm just gonna start trying to drill it in. All right, y'all, so here we go. So I got the drill hooked up, and I have the hose in here, and so I'm gonna try to pump it and see if it'll feed in here. As you can see, it's kind of already primed, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. Whoops. See it. Hopefully you guys can kind of see it going in. Oh, it's already leaking a little bit, so let me tighten this fitting really quick. All right, y'all, I'm back. I had a problem with it leaking right at the clamp here, so now I'm back. But as you can see, all the fluid is full in it, and so I'm just pumping it slow, feeding it inside here. And then what I'll do is every so often, I'm going to put this wrench, the socket on the crank here, and I'm going to turn the crank and see if I can get the oil pumping in. Oh, one thing I forgot to do actually is take off the valve cover, so let me do that real quick. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate the crank here. Rotate it there, and then I'll pump more oil in. And I'm going to keep cycling this on and off and see if I can get it good and primed. You can see that oil going in. And I'll just keep continuing this cycle for a while, and then my hope is to see if I can get oil to pop up into the heads. And once that's done, then I know that it's good and primed. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue the cycle for a while, and then I'll chime back in. All right, what's up, y'all? So that wasn't the best video of what I was trying to do, but you can kind of get the gist of what I was trying to do. But all in all, it ended up working out. I ran into a couple little issues and some things I forgot to do. The main thing I forgot to do was I forgot to put the oil sensor back in. So as you can see, I have the oil sensor in now. It's being blocked by that wire, but there's an oil sensor back in. And then when I was pumping the oil in and I was turning the crank, all of a sudden I heard drip, 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 and looked in the back, and oil was just spewing back there and made a huge puddle on the ground. And so I had to take that off, and it went all over my fresh paint and all on the transmission. But you know, I had to drop the transmission anyway because I'm going to put a new torque converter in there and all that stuff. So had to drop that. So that was that. But positive is at least I know the oil pump is working and it's pumping the oil through the passages and everything, and so that was the positive out of it. Also, what you want to do is you want to keep doing that feeding the oil in and then turning the crank, and feeding the oil in and turning the crank again. That way you can make sure the oil gets all the way through every passage in the engine. And then if you can see right here, you can see the oil settling in, and you know that your engine is pretty much good and primed, and at least it's coming up through the push rods there and all that. So as you can see, it's a little bit wet on the bottom as well. So like I said, at least you know that the oil has made its way through. This just ensures that, you know, when you start the engine, you don't start it dry, and at least you have some oil, you know, pumping through the veins in the engine and all that. And so that way, when you start it, you're good to go. So I probably was able to put maybe 2 quarts in or so, and I probably spilled about a quarter of a quart and all that. But I'm going to finish putting the oil in, and I'm going to just feed it just like normal and put all the engine oil that I have in, and then I'll probably have to top it off a little later on, but I just wanted to make sure that I had that in there. So that's kind of my video of how I prime it. So again, I use this here. I got it from Summit. At least I believe I got it from Summit. I'm pretty sure, it's been so long. But it's just an easy and simple way to do it, and you don't have to, you know, buy an engine or a priming kit or whatever. I don't even know how much they were, but I looked at them at the time, and I wasn't about to spend that much money for one. And, you know, I was happy getting this here. If I got 1 to 2 uses out of it, I was perfectly fine with that. That thing only cost me like, shoot, I don't know. It might have cost me like 11, 12 bucks. Actually, I want to say I did get that from Amazon. I just had it in a Summit box with all my other things. So I think I did get that off Amazon. But in any case, either way, you can look at the box and see. Again, very, very simple way to prime your engine. And all you got to do is just go to Lowe's and get some clear tube and a fitting to fit on the side here, and then you're good to go, which reminds me I have to torque that. But other than that, y'all, shoot, we in there. So engine is primed. I dropped the transmission and a few other things. So another step closer to getting this thing cranked over, and I'm going to call it quits for the night. So anyways, y'all, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And man, we in there. We making waves, all right? Deuces, peace out, stay tuned for more.